This is Unfuck the Poor, and we're back for round 2 of Okay, but is it racist with my good friend Kenny? In this episode, Black Cowboys.
I think that right there is kind of the genius of Trump, if you will, is he's really good at masking or just having an out. You know, he's the ultimate gambler. Trump always lives himself an out. He always leaves himself, you know.
He's got an escape hatch.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
I'm so glad he's fucking gone. But I feel like there's this residue of racism that he left behind. Like a lot of stuff since he left office, they feel wrong, or they like, it's okay. This is weird. So in 2020, it seemed like I noticed this with several folks. My black friends and colleagues and people that I just, every once in a while will text. I noticed that I started getting those, the black skin tone thumbs up emojis, right? I was like, all right, got it. Brown skin. Good. But then shortly after that, I noticed that certain white people, colleagues, started using the white skin tone, and something about that seems like really passive aggressive, like racism white, almost like, oh, like white people, we don't need the white skin tone on the emoji. Like we're good with yellow. Like it doesn't matter.
Oh, so the default one is yellow.
Yeah.
See,
you don't need, like, I don't need to change my default one. Like, yeah, that's fine. Like,
okay.
I don't need to represent that I'm white. Like that, right?
Yeah, but I didn't. See, I guess I didn't notice that. I was thinking that it was already white.
No,
it's
default yellow. You gotta go in there and consciously change it.
Okay. Huh.
Is when you got your phone, was it not default yellow?
Maybe it was. I don't, like that's one of the things I'm like, I guess I'm oblivious to. It just, I did change mine to the brown one, but I never like.
No, every time I send someone a thumbs up, it's just default yellow.
Okay.
And so it's really seemed like when I started getting the white thumbs up from white people, I was like, this is not necessary. You didn't have to do that.
I think, you can be proud to be white.
Oh, really? I mean, I'm not ashamed to be white, but I am sure as shit not going to say I'm.
Well, okay. You get what I'm saying is
white and pride will never be never going to be something that shit's never coming. No, sir.
I guess, maybe
I'm on to you. Wrong, I know what you're trying. You're not getting me. God damn it, Kenny.
But what I'm saying is, it's, just like, I can be proud of where I come from and mine and my, people's experience. Definitely, I think there's some things that, you can be proud of. Then of course, there's some things that suck in, everybody's experience. But yeah, like I don't know. I can see your point on the white one. Just almost like the need or to say yeah, I get
like
that's funny.
So another thing that hits wrong now is lifted trucks, like trucks that are like jacked up, lifted tall. Oh. Like those don't feel safe anymore. They feel kind of racist, but it's not every lifted truck. Like,
the one with the American flag on it.
So the Carolina squat trucks with like the chrome wheels that like squat in the back, not those. It's they're gonna have some kind of sticker on the back window. It's either gonna be the birth and death of like a loved one. It's either gonna be that sticker on the back window, or it's gonna feel like vaguely threatening, like a silhouette of a rifle or some kind of weird quote like "Warning, professional redneck" or "Silly boys, trucks are for girls," and like it's like automatic racism. If
Try
it's
that in a small town.
Oh shit! Or if it's a deer and an American flag, okay, 100%. Lifted truck, deer on an American deer silhouette on American flag. That guy's a racist. Yeah. Like doesn't matter. But yeah,
sure.
Oh, try that in a small town. Yeah, that's
or if there's an eagle on the back.
That eagle is I've met a lot of like weirdos in my day. No one who liked other races has any need for an eagle anywhere. Nope. Now, I will say this. I do own an eagle belt buckle, but I have no idea where it is. And I bought it as a joke. I've only worn it once. Okay. And after I wore it, I was like, first of all, it's uncomfortable because it is the shape of an eagle. It's not like it's not a square and then an eagle in the middle. No, it is a chrome eagle. It's about 6 inches wide. Oh, wow. You can't sit with this thing. Yeah. Like it hurts. The wings are sticking in the stomach. Yeah. You turn wrong and you've got an appendectomy. But I don't wear it. Okay. That's I don't take it out in public like everybody look at my goddamn American eagle. Let's see. Okay. Any version other than any version of Black Lives Matter other than Black Lives Matter, that's like to me automatically racist. Like all lives matter, redneck lives matter, hunters lives matter, which I saw the other day, obviously racist. And also the thin blue line, I feel like that became, and then also, but the not thin blue line, I feel like, okay, I don't think we can call that racist. However, if it is the Punisher logo with the thin blue line on it, that's racist.
What is that?
You remember the Punisher logo? It's like that skull.
The white lines.
Yeah. Have you seen the one where he's like his face is like split up into like black and white stripes, and there's like a single blue line on it? That is a cop who identifies as like the Punisher. Okay. And to me, that's like that's all right.
See, that is, but see,
well, okay, maybe it doesn't scream racism, but it definitely screams police brutality. Like that, for sure. Like that cop, the cop with the Punisher, like thin blue line Punisher logo, 100% police brutality. Like for that, sure. That guy.
Hell, you might be right about it being racist just because who's he punishing?
Yeah, exactly.
Like
criminals get punishment after being sentenced in a court of law. The punishment does not come from the cops on the street. Exactly. Right? So another thing that is racist now is white people with cable. Like if white people have cable or satellite subscription, that's racist.
Was that a joke?
Hold on, wait. Explain this. Cable? Listen, no one needs cable. Okay, we don't need cable. But if you're white with cable or satellite, you're watching Fox News. That's the only reason you have it. Remember, this is post Trump. So Trump ruined cable and satellite for white people. You cannot be white and have cable. Oh shit. Okay. I'm glad. I really love that you asked me.
That's funny. I worked at a job one time, and they used to play Fox News.
Oh, that's the worst.
In the break room, like that's all that was on was Fox. And I did not like that job. Nope, didn't like it.
It's a no for me if I go in like anywhere and like Fox News is on, right? Like the only reason that I still go to the Honda dealer to get my stuff done is because they have like MSNBC on, like just very neutral, like not even CNN, right? Yeah. Just boring ass news.
Yeah.
And I can ignore that. I cannot ignore Fox. I
Yeah.
cannot ignore CNN. Like,
Yeah.
just give me something I don't give a shit about, right? But also, I feel like the only thing that's worse for me personally is HGTV. Not because of race or anything. I fucking hate home and garden television
Okay.
because I work in construction
Yeah.
and I used to be a contractor. And like every time I see one of these fucking shows, it's like it's triggering. It's fucking PTSD.
Okay.
Like I fucking hate it.
They definitely take some liberties with respect to how the job sites go. You know, you can just tell that the person on the show is not really in charge of any of this work. You know, there's no way. You know, like there's no way.
My dentist. Every time I go to my dentist, you lean back in the chair and they have a TV above your thing.
Okay.
You know what? Every one of these fucking rooms, you know what the TVs are tuned to? Home and garden TV.
Oh, okay.
I'm not shitting you. Okay. You lay back and it's like fucking who were the Chip and Joanna Gaines, those people.
Twins.
The fucking real estate twins. If I lean back and it's like fucking House Hunters, I'll have all this shit in my mouth that it's like, oh, you gotta turn the TV off. They're like, what? Yeah. I cannot do HDTV. You gotta please turn it off. Like it, I would rather them not give me any like painkillers than watch Home and Garden. Yeah. Like, I can deal with you hitting a raw nerve. I cannot watch another 5 seconds of
Home and Garden.
Fucking list it or leave it. Oh shit. Okay, Kenny, I don't mean to focus on 2020 and Trump and all that, but in a sense, I feel like we have to because we did not get anything positive out of that. Do you think we got anything positive out of the Trump presidency? Like after Trump, and the reason I'm so focusing on this is because he like faced re-election in a year when any actual clever politician absolutely could have just like had that whole fucking election like in their pocket, right? If only he made the right decisions. Like here's maybe I'm being a little bit too generous to the poor white people that voted for him. If Trump said that COVID was dangerous and that we needed to do all this stuff, they would have listened. If Trump straight up said that what happened to Breonna Taylor or George Floyd, if he straight up said that that was bad policing, if he said that he agreed that the protesters were right, like police brutality is a strong, I feel like they would have gone with him. They would have said, this is too much. Like, because you can, that's the thing about a person like Trump who has like those sort of cult leader kind of followers, like your followers will go with you where you take them.
Yeah.
And you can choose to show like empathy and understanding, and you can take people in that direction. And he straight up chose not to. And he really focused on keeping things divided. And I don't think anything good came out of that. I mean, obviously, like he ruined cable.
Yeah. But I'll say this. I do think we got something good out of it.
What?
He brought the people in hiding out. There were a lot of people that you didn't know were enemies till Trump encouraged them, built them up, made them feel like they were important. And now they're wearing their rebel flags. They're putting them on their cars. They're more outspoken. They're telling you what they think. So I think him empowering a lot of poor white guys, he made them feel whatever it is they felt to, come out and show their true colors. And I think, I would much rather know you're an enemy, then, and, know who you are as, as opposed to somebody that's acting like a friend or acting like an ally and they secretly hate you, Yeah. So I think that's the one takeaway I can say that.
That's a real. I don't know what the right response to that is, other than I really appreciate. This is why I enjoy talking to you. I really appreciate that perspective.
For sure.
Because to me, like, I noticed that as well, but it's like, he shouldn't have done that. Let me not be vague. Sorry. As a white person, you kind of know, like, you can kind of feel out other white people, like, maybe we need to avoid this topic. But no, like, Trump was straight up like, oh yeah, we'll say whatever. And then they were just posting all their shit on Facebook.
Yep.
Like, oh God, like,
yep.
Yeah, a lot of friends and family friends that all of a sudden I don't have anymore. Like,
yeah,
I don't need that in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Thank God. So wait, did you say? Are we saying thank you, Trump?
Well, I don't know if I'm saying thank you, Trump.
Oh, good. Okay, we're not.
As much as just recognizing.
I like that you put a positive spin on it, though.
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
Hell yeah! Just because that was real. Like, I saw it. Like, I remember, actually having that thought, like, in a conversation where I'm the only black guy in a room, or the only black guy in the room, and just by way of what they were discussing about Trump, I saw everybody in this room different, and I'm going, wow, I never would have guessed it, and it's.
Do you remember anything like specific from that conversation that you'd like to share?
I don't even really remember what like the actual words were, as much as the rallying that like the feeling that I got when the rally was kind of going on. It started at what had happened was they were watching one of his rallies, and he was making some point, and to me it was a dog whistle, and they all started cheering and clapping. And so,
how many people are in the room?
About 7. I'm one of 7. Yeah, it was like 6 white guys and me. And it was weird because I wasn't clapping, and so but I'm looking around, and it just was uneasy, but it was something that I, walked away from, like, okay, cool. Got it.
Noted.
There you go. Noted.
All right.
Duly noted.
I'm down to our last section here, and I'm going to apologize to you because I really tried to avoid doing this, but I cannot help myself because I really enjoy like going down rabbit holes. And I know you do too.
Sure.
And I really hope you find this one interesting. And if you don't, I'm really sorry. But this does have to do with gentrification. But it does not have to do with pickleball.
Okay.
Kenny, how do you feel about cowboys? Are cowboys racist? When you okay. What is the first thing? What picture do you get in your head when you hear the phrase American cowboy? What do you see?
I see a white guy.
There you go. All right, go ahead.
With no shirt on.
What? Why does he have a shirt, Kenny?
Because he's waving it in his hands. It is over his head in a circle with a cowboy hat on and some jeans that's tight. And you like, how they stand up without a belt?
Why are you mentioning Magic Mike?
But then I tell you what I also see, and this ain't no joke. I'm not putting on. This is what I really saw when you asked or you said it's cowboys racist. I saw a black dude with some skinny tight jeans on, his cowboy boots, and a flannel shirt, and a cowboy hat. Yeah, I just see those guys like partying. The white guy's got a shirt in his hand, twirling it above his head, like, yeah.
Well, wait, you're telling me that these two guys, the black cowboy and the white cowboy, are partying together?
Yeah.
Did you read my fucking notes?
No. No. You have that for real?
That's where I'm going with this.
Okay. All right.
Shit. All right.
Look at that.
Okay. We've recorded it for the first time.
Yeah.
The brain wavelength connection here. Because that is, yeah. So I was listening to a podcast the other day, and the guest name is Prop, and he's from the podcast Hood Politics.
Okay.
And he was on Behind the Bastards, and he and Robert Evans were sort of riffing back and forth, and they were talking about cowboys, and Prop said something that like caught my ear, because he said something like 90% of cowboys were black. Yeah. And I was like, I don't think it's 90%, but I know there were black cowboys. So this is where I went down the rabbit hole. And now I feel, what do you know about black cowboys? That's a
real thing.
Like, yeah.
A lot. Oh yeah. Like, yeah.
You got to understand, I got like 5 pages on black cowboys here.
Okay.
And like I am now more excited than I was before.
I don't have any like firsthand experience with black cowboys. Like, traditional, I guess, black cowboys. But yeah, I've seen a lot of different little, I don't know, not movies, but like, I don't know what they would be called, but like a story or something like that, on a lot of the black cowboys, past and current.
Yeah.
And I definitely think, yeah.
So here's, if you were to ask like a kid growing up in like the 60s, 70s, 50s, 60s, like cowboy, it'd be a white dude on a horse, like you'd have the fucking Lone Ranger, right? Okay, so in American popular culture, the image of the white cowboy and the Wild West, like fighting bad guys, usually Mexican bandits, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the predominant image. And there is a reason that's a predominant image. And that is, it's called the Hayes Act. And that was the bill that basically regulated what movie studios could put in films. And it wasn't a bill. It was like a handbook for the movie studios. And I forget who wrote it. His name was Hayes, but I basically said no interracial relationships, no homosexuality. I mean, those are the 2 big ones, right? And so you have generations of film where you don't have black leads, you don't have people of color in leads, you don't have gays in lead. Like it's the image is the straight white American male, like that is the lead character in a lot of cinema. But that wasn't always the case, and it's also not reflective of reality. So historians estimate that freed black slaves made up something like 25% of American cowboys. However, I would argue that it is much higher than that, kind of like Prop from Hood Politics, because historians are usually estimating, and they have to take in data, but they don't necessarily consider like other non-statistical elements. But I'll get into that in a minute. So with westward expansion, there was, in my opinion, too much going on too quickly to have like a really good historical record on like how many black cowboys there were. But this is all speculation. So I feel like the number is higher because Texas was pretty sparsely populated after the Civil War, mid 1800, pre-Civil War and post-Civil War. And so a lot of places where slavery was legal, an overwhelming percentage of the population was enslaved black folk. Like Texas slavery was legal in Texas, but it was something like 30% of Texas was blacks. They were slaves. So 30% of the population was not even free of their own. They were not even free men. So after the Civil War, after emancipation, you had tens of thousands of freed slaves moving west, where slavery had not been part of the culture. You did not have the legacy of slavery there. It doesn't mean you didn't have racism, but you did not have the legacy of slavery out west. So you have a lot of freed black folk going west. And what do the freed black folk know? They know how to work the land. They know how to work with animals. Most of these freed black folk go working in basically farm jobs or like ranch jobs.
Yeah.
There are a bunch. This is what was cool to me. There are a bunch of all black towns in the new West. You have Mobile and Randolph, Arizona, Allensworth, California. But the states with the most all black towns are Oklahoma. They had 15 all black towns, and Texas had 19. Boley, Oklahoma was the largest all black town in Oklahoma with an all-time high population of 4,200.
And it was called Boley?
Boley, B-O-L-E-Y.
Okay.
So the stories of most of these towns are really sad. You had freed slaves. They fled west after emancipation because, racism. And as they settled in the West and the Western territories became states, they became subject to federal law, like all the segregationist Jim Crow laws, which really, like, you think about it, you move to a new place, you're a newly freed slave, you've started, you live in an all black town, and now all of a sudden you're, not only do you live in an all black town, but you can't even go into a white town because of segregation. If you do go, you are separated from the rest of the population. And the Jim Crow, really, it did this, it really emboldened white people. Like, I feel like at the time, white people were already really bold. You had, colonization and all that, but emancipation, without true freedom is really what Jim Crow accomplished. And that's something that only like American white people could create. And I'm still talking about cowboys. So, some of the earliest films, like silent films, were Westerns. You had the film called Kidnapping by Indians, was filmed in 1899. It was actually filmed in England. You had The Great Train Robbery, filmed in 1903, also British. And you had early Western stars like Bronco Billy Anderson, Tom Mix, William Hart. They were making films in the 1910s and 1920s. These were all silent films. And right up until 1927 to 28, it's all silent films. And a lot of these movies are just Westerns. And what's strange is after sound, we shifted away from Westerns. I don't know why. They still made a lot, but they were like throwaway films. Like, if you were a small studio getting started, you would do like a Western. You would just pump out Westerns, like, people would be coming. Yeah. They basically were kind of like, how you have like direct to DVD, direct to video movie. That's basically what these were. Just cranking them out, bread and butter type films. But Kenny, cowboys. In 1922, a white filmmaker by the name of Richard Norman made his way to Boley, Oklahoma, the largest all-black city in Oklahoma, with a very particular interest in mind. He wanted to make all-black films for all-black audiences. Have you ever heard the phrase race film? Because I had not.
Race film?
Yeah.
I've never heard that before.
I hadn't either. So this was a thing in the 20s, because of segregation.
Okay.
You would basically film studios. It was a whole totally new thing. Film studios realized that all these films were being made with white people, and there were some entrepreneurial filmmakers who were like, well, we also have black people, and black people would also like to watch movies. So they made movies with all black casts. And movies with all black casts that were actually positive in nature were race films. They were like good for the black community because they told good stories. So Richard Norman makes his way to Boley, Oklahoma, and he films. So Norman's first foray into film. Okay, we'll get back to the Cowboys in just a minute, but Richard Norman's actually pretty interesting. So his first, the way that he made money first as a filmmaker is he would travel town to town with like a camera, and he would find people in town, and he'd be like, hey, do you want to act in this film? and he would like film them in the streets, and then he would process the film and he would show it, and he would like charge them money to watch themselves on the screen. This was like a whole novelty in like the early 1900s.
Okay.
So he was like a carnival guy. He would like, hey, I'm in your town making a movie, and they were called like town films or something like that.
Okay.
And so, imagine somebody shows up at your house with like a camcorder and like wants to make home movies with you. Like that's what this guy's doing. Okay. So around this time, like in the before the 1920s, Richard Norman lives in Chicago, and this would be like the late 1910s. And he makes friends with a bunch of artists and actors, many of them black. And Norman becomes friends with a man named Oscar Michaud. Michaud is pretty interesting, but he's not a cowboy. Michaud is the son of a slave who was born in Illinois. He moves to Chicago, and he starts some businesses, but ultimately he stops like doing all that, and he starts making film. And he becomes the first independent, black independent filmmaker in the United States, Oscar Michaud. He's the godfather of black film. I didn't know this. It sounds pretty cool. So yeah. Richard Norman's in Chicago, befriends Michaud, and through talking to him, he learns that black people like movies with black actors. And there are a lot of black actors who get work in mainstream movie. So Norman has traveled a lot, and he uses his connections to make a movie in 1919. It's called The Green-Eyed Monster. It's an all-black cast for an all-black audience, but the first version that he makes of it sucks because he has like a drama in it that like the black audiences love, but he also has a comedy. It's like a subplot in the movie, and he's a white guy doing black comedy, so it's all stereotypes.
Okay.
And when he plays it, they're like, we really like the part where like the heroes like are good people and good things happen. We really don't like it when you make racist stereotypes. And so he was like, okay. So he splits the movie in two, and he remakes The Green-Eyed Monster, like the drama, and it's like a hit. It is like a smash.
They got rid of the guy in the corner eating watermelon.
Yeah. Well, he got rid of it out of the drama because he made a second movie that was just a comedy that he,
Okay.
So he made two. So he made one like really powerhouse, like good, soulful, like black drama, and then the other was probably racist as fuck. I have no idea. But Oscar Michaud, godfather of black film, American black film, said about The Green-Eyed Monster, the most sensational Negro film ever made. So this is so Richard Norman hits it out of the park with The Green-Eyed Monster, and that's fascinating. Norman's next two films are westerns, but not just any westerns. Black westerns featuring black cowboys.
Okay.
The Bulldogger came out in 1921, and The Crimson Skull came out in 1922. And the Crimson Skull it's like a hero bandits kind of movie, but The Bulldogger is by far the more interesting one.
Okay.
Do you know what bulldogging is?
No.
All right. We're going to explain it.
Okay.
I'm going to explain it, and it is fucking wild.
Okay.
Okay. All right. I swear this is going somewhere.
All right.
All right. So bulldogging. All right. The Bulldogger movie stars a where is it? Okay. The Bulldogger stars a black professional rodeo cowboy named Bill Pickett. He was born in Jenks Branch, Texas. That was an all black community of about 400 acres in central Texas. So he's family of freed slaves. They moved to an all black town in Texas. Pickett was born 1870, 5 years after the Emancipation Proclamation. And his occupation, Bill Pickett's occupation, was just straight up, he's a fucking cowboy, like roping and wrangling.
Gotcha.
But he was a really fucking good cowboy. There is a move in rodeo called bulldogging, and Bill Pickett invented it. And I'm going to explain. I'm going to explain how fucking pivotal the bulldog is. Okay. All right. You know the phrase "grab the bull by the horns"?
Yes.
That's bulldogging.
Okay.
So fucking Bill Pickett invents bulldogging, and the way he did it, and it's not really done anymore because it is deadly.
Right.
Bill Pickett would gallop on his horse alongside a stray bull. He would leap from the horse to the bull, holding onto the horns, and then he would bite the bull's lip and fall backwards, bringing the bull to the ground.
Jesus, that works.
Apparently. So the way that he got this idea, they used to work with dog, like cowboys would work with like ranch dogs, and he noticed that the dogs, when they would go after, he would pull them by the lip, or they would go after the horns. They would go after the lip, and that worked. And so his thinking was, I'll grab these fucking horns, and so I get a hold of the horns, and I can bite the lip and get him down. And apparently, they eventually did away with the lip biting and just like grabbed the bull by the horns. But yeah, I think the appropriate phrase, instead of grabbing the bull by the horns, would be like, bite the bull on the fucking lips. Like that's what you really need to do to get the most out of life, right? Like,
bite the bull on the lip. That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
All right, so Bill Pickett has this sort of showman skill, and he joins the same 101 Ranch Wild West show that featured Buffalo Bill. Okay. But because of some segregationist laws, he wasn't allowed in some of the venues where they performed. So he would just lie to them and tell them he was Comanche. And because white people really don't see race, this worked. Yeah. This black guy can't come in. No, I'm Comanche. Oh, my apologies. So not everyone can be Bill Pickett, right? So sometimes you're going to grow up in an all black community in the 1870s and you won't become a famous cowboy. But this doesn't just happen, right? Like you don't just randomly grow up in a community and become a cowboy. There has to be a cowboy culture there, especially in an all black community, with a community with horsemanship, cowboying, ranching, all that stuff. And I think what happens between Norman the filmmaker and Bill Pickett and the rise of the silent race films, I think you have these stories that resonate with black communities because they're real. And so what I'm getting at here is that the image of the white cowboy that came about in the second half of the 20th century, that is a racist depiction, because the image of cowboys that, especially, I mean, just imagine like being I can't imagine being anybody, but like imagine being a young person like in the 1920s and seeing like a film of someone that looks like you doing this incredible thing, or even something that like you've heard stories about, like maybe your relatives did. Yeah. Right. And like, here it is on film. Like you can't drink out of the same water fountain. You can't go in the same stores. Here's fucking Bill Pickett biting a bull on the fucking mouth, bringing him down to the dust. And that's like, so 25% of the West was I doubt it. I think the number was a lot higher, but I think the black American cowboy is one of those things that I don't think we see enough of. It's something that let me put it to you like this. I shouldn't have seen like I shouldn't have seen the previews for Django Unchained and been like, a black cowboy? Huh. What a novel idea. Like, that should not have been.
Well, it's okay. It's better to be ignorant than stupid. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, that's true.
I tell my boys all the time, ignorance is just the lack of information. Yeah. But being stupid is having the information and just not using it, or not being able to, access it. So, yeah, ignorance is just, you just haven't, had the opportunity to get it yet.
I could make the joke like, but is it racist? I don't think that white American cowboys, I don't think that's racist. What I do think, though, is that like just that one particular aspect of like American history, like the cowboy, has been whitewashed. And I don't particularly like the phrase whitewashed, but I think it works. I mean, It's just white people are way overrepresented when you think about it. Like dudes driving cattle in the desert, white cowboys, black cowboys, probably having a good fucking time, right? Yeah. Like, because if that's what you're doing, if that's your job, like you got the same job, like probably having a good time out on the range. Yep. And so that is why I think it is so fucking weird that when I asked you what you think of when you think of the American cowboy, it was a black cowboy and a white cowboy having a good time. Because
hold down, if you will.
Because that is probably exactly what it fucking was.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, there's nothing like easy about being a cowboy, I guess.
No.
But like, it's like,
It's a lot of hard work in the day.
Yeah.
At night, you gotta let your hair down.
But like anybody that's worked a hard fucking job knows that like if you're spending that much time with like your colleagues and it's that fucking brutal, like any idea of like this hierarchy, right, or like this separation between black and white, you can say someone is like the main, like the lead driver or whatever of like a cattle team or whatever, but at the end of the day, like you're all shitting in the desert, right? And you're all eating the same bullshit. Like it's more camaraderie and I think more egalitarian than I think pop culture, what our typical view of it would have been. And I think that's a disgrace because I don't know, man, you know, there's so much shit that is awesome about America that black and white people have participated in together and like been happy. And it feels like we don't get that represented. And that's actually like, that's the entire episode that I have written down. Because I didn't have any way to end any of this, but those are my thoughts on the Black American cowboy.
Yeah. So have you ever seen the movie Rosewood?
No.
You should check that movie out.
Tell me about it. What about it?
It's a true story on a city in I think it's set in Oakland. And it's from the past. It's but it's just based on a true story on a city with a lot of black cowboys and the whole town, a black town.
Rosewood. Mm-hmm. I will look at that. Kenny, is there anything that you would like to, anything that we've talked about that you'd like to add on, or any thoughts of your own? Because I really feel like I just kind of dropped the ball on into that episode.
Well, I don't know how you usually end it, but like I've enjoyed this talk like I usually do. I like the format. I liked it. It was cool. It was like coming in, I was like so nervous, like didn't know anything, and I was kind of scared of how I was gonna be, but it turned out pretty cool.
You did awesome. And so I got it. So one of my favorite things to do.
Yeah.
Because I've had a few guests. I've done a few interviews, and I love not giving them anything to prepare with.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I sent I have a friend that I'm going to do another one with, and I sent him the script beforehand.
Yeah. And
I was like, he asked when I want to do it, and I was like, in the next couple of weeks. He was like, oh, that'd be good. I'd like to do some research first. And I was like, oh, fuck. No. I need to catch you off guard. Like, I can't.
Now you're going to change the script.
Yeah, I'm going to throw it away. We're not talking about this anymore. This week we're talking about the fucking Teletubbies is what we're talking about.
The Teletubbies.
Yeah. No, we're not talking about environmental impact or climate change. We're talking, we're talking about those 4 fucking aliens that lived on that mound, and then that baby that lived in the sun. That's what we're talking about. You know what I'm really proud of actually with
What's
this
that?
Episode, that I did not make one sex joke.
You usually get one in?
Oh yeah, but it didn't seem appropriate this time.
Yeah. Well, you could have made a joke with about grabbing some, like Donald Trump, grab by the.
You know what? I'll actually probably end this episode with just that clip of him saying that.
There you go.
Oh shit. Well, okay. So I'll have to freestyle an ending here. So to bring it all back, okay. But is it racist? I think we can say a lot of stuff, yes. Some stuff probably not intentionally, and also if you're going to use the term, you really have to have. You brought this out in me. You really have to have a clear definition of what you mean, because you didn't say this, but it felt like you were saying this. Like, you have to really be careful using that word, because it's not like, it's not really an accusation, right? Like that is a label. Like that action, that person is racist. And if you're going to say that, it better be true.
You gotta have it right.
Yeah.
And it can become a crutch also.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that every experience they have or every negative experience they have, they attribute it to racism. And I'm just, I wasn't raised like that. Mom, you better be sure, you know?
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
And it's also, I will say the one thing that, and I 100% agree with you on Trump being more classist than racist, because a lot of times it seemed like it really, the language really was intentional to drum up that support of the poor white people. Yeah,
it was just to win. He did that because he recognized what he needed to do to get all of these people to give him money to what. He's just an opportunist, man. That's it. He don't care. He just cares about the money. Yeah. He's like, look at these. Everybody's a sucker to him. Yeah. Everybody's a sucker.
And I gotta say, like you mentioned briefly, like black people voting for Trump, like wealthy black people voting for Trump, because he helped them. Yeah, like 100%. Sure. If you're a rich dude in America, there was nothing better that happened to you in those 4 years than Trump. Yep. He, I think, I think something that doesn't. It actually strikes me as wild that it's not mentioned more. You remember those tax cuts that he did? So he implemented like a permanent corporate tax cut. Permanent. I didn't know that. The tax cut that he gave all the other Americans, that was temporary. Okay. That only lasted the 4 years of his presidency. That like expired in 2020 or 21 or something like that. Yeah. If you wanted more tax cuts from Trump, you had to vote for him. Corporations got it permanently. Wow. And like this was not like a secret at all. It was like this was his tax plan. And it's like nobody sees it. You guys don't see this. Like guy owns fucking businesses. Yeah. He's giving himself a permanent tax break. Yeah. And all of you people who are voting for him, you ain't getting it that long. Suckers. You enjoy the ride while you can.
Everybody's got sucker road on their forehead.
Oh, and I did have this thought before you came over. It was because I was making pizza and I was like,
you made that pizza?
Yeah.
Man, that was good. I thought that was delivery.
No, I made it in the kitchen.
Like from scratch?
Yeah. I even made the sauce.
What? That you should have led with that. That's news. How'd you make it?
Oh, well, I tell you what. I'll tell you both stories at once. Okay. Right? Okay. So my family is Italian. We're Sicilian. Okay. And, but we're also Southern. Okay. Gotcha. So my great grandfather came over in like 1899, something like that, and he was from Sicily. And so, but he quickly assimilated, and my grandfather is just straight up Southern white guy. He was actually, this is interesting. He was actually embarrassed of his father for having like a heavy Italian accent. So he'd like when he was in World War II, and when he came back, like he had an army friend come visit, and he wouldn't let him come over to the house because he still lived with his parents, and he didn't want him to meet his father because he had an accent. Like he was embarrassed by it. So this was like assimilation was like a huge thing. So anyway, being Italian has not really been a huge part of like my upbringing. We were very much just Southern people. Okay. But you know how like generations, descendants do, they like want to reconnect. And so a year or two ago, my mother and her sisters went to Sicily, and they learned how to make pizza at a place. And my mother came back and she was like, I'm going to teach you to make a pizza. And I was like, great, Mom, let's do that. Yeah. And she brought over yeast in the little packets, but it had been sitting in her car and it froze, and it didn't work. So I basically made this giant nasty dough brick. It was just fucking gross. And I was like, okay, well, we're not doing this again. So it's been over a year. I've been making pizza over a year.
Wow.
Because I was so pissed off with that first one. So I've been perfecting the pizza ever since then.
Well, you got it down,
I have
sir.
Like 100 fucking pizzas or something. Okay. It's been a lot.
The dough,
and my mom didn't teach me a goddamn
was really soft.
Yes. So I'm making the pizza this evening. Okay. And so I've got, you got to let your yeast bloom in the water. And, like I put honey in it. So it like, starts to activate. And then I combine the water and the stuff in the flour, and then you like mix it and you make the dough. Okay. And as I'm sitting there kneading the dough, this is important. You have to knead the dough a lot because you have to like build up all the gluten, the protein, that's what gives it its structure.
Okay.
And so I'm sitting there kneading it, and I'm just thinking like, man, all right, I know I'm going to talk about this with Kenny. I know I'm going to talk about this with Kenny. And so I'm sitting there like kneading it. And I'm thinking, man, all right, I got Kenny coming over. I got to like, I'm going through like, how I'm going to like, how do I introduce Kenny to like what the format is? And then like, am I going to stick to the script? I should probably review the script.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, well, I was like, I wonder if I should ask Kenny about like the, when people say, some of my best friends are black. And I'm like, well, I feel like that's kind of like maybe I shouldn't bring that up. That's like not very funny. I can't really do anything with that. I mean, it's like, that's like every white guy's defense. Like when they do something racist, like, my friends are black. And then I was like, well, if somebody was saying something to me, I'd probably be like, well, my friend Kenny. And then I was like, well, and I'm still kneading the dough at this point. And I'm like, well, if I'm ever in a conversation where I feel the need to bring up my black friend, I've probably said something racist. Like,
for sure.
Yeah, it doesn't.
For sure.
It does not matter how many black friends you have, how many people of color you know. Like, if you have to bring up the color of your friends to defend something that you said, no, it's indefensible. It's racist. So anyway, I'm kneading the dough, and I'm thinking about how I'm going to ask Kenny what question, and then I'm like, well, all right, maybe that's a good joke. I have no idea, and then you let the dough rise for an hour, and so while that's doing that, I make the sauce, and so I just take a can of stewed tomatoes, I drain it so that it's relatively dry. I get some garlic and some basil, salt and pepper, and that's it, and just cook it real quick. And then I spread the dough out, make it the nice pizza shape, put the sauce on it.
Yeah.
And then I used the cheese that you were eating on that part of the pizza was just large shredded mozzarella, but it was like fancy large shredded mozzarella.
Okay.
And on the other half, my wife and I ate the other half. I'm sorry. It was like the big sliced mozzarella,
Yeah.
with pancetta, which is like a cured pork, Italian cured pork thing. Okay. It was really good. That was one of the better pizzas I ever made.
It was really good, man.
The trick to it is to make sure that I also have a pizza stone. You have to have a pizza stone. You don't have to have a pizza stone, but it helps a lot.
Yeah.
That fucker's got to be hot. Like, you should regret touching it if you touch it.
Okay.
And then as soon as you put the pizza on it, it should make a noise like that. That's how you know the bottom is going to get nice and crispy.
Dang, that's interesting, man. I'm gonna have to try that. So you have to text me those steps, and I'm gonna try that one of these weekends.
I'll make a whole video.
Heck yeah!
I'll text it to you in like 10-second clips. But I'm gonna send them out of order, and you gotta put them in order.
I gotta figure it out.
Yeah. I'll send you
this
like
puzzle together.
Exactly. Shit. So yeah, if you ever say, but I have, but my best friends are black.
Yeah.
You've said something racist.
For sure. For sure.
And that's been the episode. And this is where I close with Donald Trump saying, grab him by the pussy.
I moved on her like a bitch, but I couldn't get there. And she was married. Then all of a sudden I see her, she's now got the big phony tits and everything. She's totally changed her look.
Jeez, your girl's hot as shit.
I'm automatically attracted to beautiful. I just start kissing them. It's like a magnet. You just kiss them. I don't even wait. And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything.
Whatever you want.
Grab them by the pussy.
Thanks for checking out this episode of Unfuck the Poor with my good friend Kenny. We have more fun and exciting episodes in the upcoming weeks, and you can find us at our new home online at uftpultra.com. That's UFTP as in Unfuck the Poor, ultra.com. We have the ebook available for download in all sorts of formats. You can also buy the ebook on amazon.com. I don't know why you would do that when you could easily just download it from the website. And if you do want to buy it from Amazon, I get some money, so that's cool.